Greetings, my friends. This is 4Planes, and welcome to a Factorio Railroad tutorial, or not Railroad, Rails tutorial. I would say I have quickly thrown together some demonstration rails for it, but no, I haven't. This actually took quite a bit. Mainly because even though 0.13 is actually out, I have mods in my install and I refuse to update until bugs have been sorted and the mods are all at 0.13. But nevertheless, not much has actually changed aside from additional functionality that you could find over by here, which could be very useful. But for the intents and purposes of this tutorial, we don't need it. So yeah, as you can see, we have 3 trains sitting in their stations with different schedules on a loop track. I am firstly going to use a loop track because probably if you want to make an elaborate rail system, this is modular, easily expandable, and mostly foolproof. Mostly. If you have your signaling set up correctly. And this one here is not. This train goes... let's see. This train goes from here to here. And then it goes all the way around to here. This train goes from here to here. And then goes around back to here. And this train here goes here. And then it goes all the way around. And I will set up another train behind this one, which also goes to B, and then goes to C. I will be right back. Alright, I am right back. The schedule has been set up, but I haven't activated the train. Because right now this would be a very stupid idea. As you can see, it does not regard any kind of not obsolescence. I mean, you know, problems and things in the way, because it sees a rail block that goes up to this, and it does not see this train in front of it because the trains themselves don't check for other trains in their rail block, and this is all rail segment number 684, as you can see, all of this. And so the train is in rail segment 684, and it presumes it can go all the way in 684 because nothing tells this train otherwise. Very foolish idea. If you have such a mis-signaling thing, you will see train explosions. How do you fix this? Well, you place a signal. As you can see, when you place the signal, a lot of arrows go this way. So if I place the signal here, the signal shows red. This does not mean the signal is placed wrong. In fact, this means I can go take this train, activate it, and now it sees, oh shite! The signal shows it's red. This means the next rail block, which is 694 now, and this is 693, detects, oh shite, this rail block here is blocked. I cannot go there, so it stops. Rail signals are incredibly important to make sure that your rails work correctly. Thusly, like you probably also got the idea, I should probably place a signal right here. And to ensure, well, this is correctly placed. And these came with a prefab, these turnaround corners. This is why they're already signals. I should also probably place one behind this here, although this is not strictly necessary to place one there. This is green, and I would probably also place a signal here. You can place signals in between here, like this, and this, but they're not necessary. Although you might want to place them, because what they do is, and you see the arrows of the, when I mouse over this rail signal, mean that it'll check for any trains in this part, And if there are no trains in these parts, an oncoming train through here is allowed to pass. If you remove this signal, it checks a lot further forwards. So if there is a train in the station here, and a train somewhere in the lay-by, it will get slowed down. Which is the reason why placing these makes sense, but it's not entirely necessary. This one here checks if there is anything in the area of the train right here. This is entirely block 706. If I place a locomotive in this block, come on, you see that this signal automatically comes up as red. So if anything enters the lay-by zone here, the train here cannot leave. If you place a signal there, it still comes up as green because this is a different part of the track. So not having a signal right next to the exit on the straight track here is advantageous. I hope you guys understand what I'm telling you. Basically, every signal you place turns in the rails into individual blocks. As you can see, it says block 709 all the way on this, which the AI checks when it enters the block whether or not there is actually the danger of a train or a train. A red signal means caution, train. A yellow signal, which you get seldomly, means danger, oncoming train, and the AI will also slow down. As you see, we have 709 here and 697 here. This means that if, for example, a train was to come this way, the AI was, let's give me something to drive with. Let's say I was an AI train and I was driving this way, then the AI would simply hold the train here, because it detects, shite, I'm in 697, and there is no rails ahead. This is because the rail signal here switches these into two completely different segments of rail directly at the signal here. This is an important knowledge, because if you want to create unidirectional trains, or not trains, sorry, rails, what you have to do is you have to place a signal on the other side as well. And now you see this is 710, this is 711, and there is no other block in between. Now the AI would actually pass. Though we have a loop which has one-way tracks, so placing this here is a stupid idea. Nevertheless, we have dealt with this intersection. We have made a waiting spot. That's it, so that, you know, an oncoming train can wait without impeding the throughput. We can clearly see that the roundabout is correctly signaled, but this signal here shows red. Why? Well, as you can see, we have a train in the block 692. It says we have a train in here because there is no signal dividing the blocks. You place a signal right here. It turns red, but it means, you know, oncoming or train in next blocks. But this signal is green. You also place a signal here and a signal right after to, you know, divert the off-ramp from this. And then we place a signal right here, meaning the rail system is now happy after we place a signal here. So, we now have a working train system. Let's make sure that all of our trains are online. This is running. This is not running. This is not running either. Let's reduce these to 15-second stops. We'll make it easier. Now I have to reduce both stops. I'm an idiot. We'll make it easier to see what is actually going on. I have refueled all of these trains as full as they can get with air quotes regenerative fuel. I'm using wood. You have to remember to do it for both. Thank you. You wait for 15 seconds here, and for 15 seconds here. And this is test B, so the first stop it wants to go to is already the correct one. Right. Activate train. Activate train. Activate train. And let's observe what we have created. This train is leaving. It goes in a roundabout. And it waits on the off-ramp. Train is leaving. This is now free. Train is going to its stop. Train waits in the storage. Train waits here. Train goes to the perfect slot. Now, train is waiting here. And the train is coming around. So you could see the train waited until this one passed through. And this train is waiting. Now this train has to wait because this one blocked the off-ramp, because I didn't leave space to make a proper off-ramp. And these trains both go to the same thing, and this train is now successfully blocking the off-ramp. Which is why you make something like this. Shit! This is not what I wanted to do. Silly me. I have just broken my rail system. Yay. Bugger. But you can see, no crashes. Have I also... Yep. Bugger. Bugger. I seem to have also broken my network connection. It seems. Bugger. Yes, I did. Okay. Test A, test C. This one here was test B. Well, this went perfectly well, I would say. This makes me able to show another feature. Those who have test B as a stop, like this one here, will say no path, as well as this one, because they have no path. Alright, let's see. One of the stops goes right there. Nope, wrong one. Building with the old system is a bit finicky usually, which is why I don't like it, but, well, I'm gonna have to make do with what I have to make do now. Now we have a path. You will see both of the trains jump into action. We should place a signal for a proper waiting zone. And as you can see, I estimated the train length sort of correctly. And I can leisurely fix my train system while the AI sorts itself out. Because the train system itself has been constructed in a way which ensures that we will not see any of these types of things. Train waits. Now this one leaves and waits. You can see none of the traffic is directly impeded. They all go to the proper spots. And this is the secret behind a properly created track. Unlike many people online who say you need chain signals for everything to make your railway a safe rail, well, they're lying. I have used 0 chain signals, and this works out perfectly. As you can see, we could run this until one of them runs out of fuel, and he will stop in one of the areas, and the other trains will stop as well, because, yeah, they detect the train in the next block. That makes them stop. Now I want you to look at something which might not be totally obvious when the train comes through, but it's best viewed somewhere over here when there's actually a train oncoming. Look at the signals. Especially... I don't think I really have a chance to show you. Maybe. Maybe I have. No, I don't. Ah, bugger. What I especially mean with the signals is probably best demonstrated if I go and ride one of my trains through my rail network, which looks a lot more sophisticated than, you know, just a simple loop. Let's see. I should refuel this. Alright. So, oil and iron service stop, please. And this allows us to demonstrate another feature. As you can see, oil and iron service stop is here. From this point on, there would be multiple ways to get there. The AI attempts to always take the shortest route. What you can see is that rail signals up ahead are turned yellow. We may be seeing this much better if we go and request it to go to the spare train 2 stop. Because there's a lot of oncoming traffic, and it's also becoming nighttime, so you can see the signal lights much better. As you can see, it turns these signals which are going into the yellow parts, it turns those red, even before the train is actually in the block. That means that if a train would go there at a speed where it can't slow down in time for another train to come there, other trains will automatically stop in order to avoid collision. And this is something I cannot highlight enough. If I would have a train barreling through here at high velocity into the train stop, and it turns the signals on its track here to yellow, this yellow signal means that this signal turns red, meaning that any oncoming traffic from here automatically stops to let this one pass. This is an insanely important feature, much overlooked. Let's see if we can easily demonstrate that. Here comes the iron train. So you can see this one turned red, even though the train was up there. It was hard to spot. But this means if something comes through with great velocity and wants to go this way, and it can't brake in time for anything to come onto this track, it automatically gets priority. In this way, these roundabouts are a very elegant way to solve traffic problems, because the way I set them up with equal signals in and out, none of the chain signals, the inside track, what is fast and going, always gets the priority. It always gets a priority what cannot really brake in time. Also, if you absolutely have to travel manually on track like I'm doing at the moment, observe your traffic lights, because your traffic lights are extremely helpful. And now I didn't stop in time, but you see, even though I wasn't in this aspect here, the train detected that me slowing down, I wouldn't make it in time. And even though I was still in this, it turned the exit signal red, meaning that oncoming traffic would automatically stop to avoid me. This is the most powerful feature that the AI probably has. Make use of it. And you know, elaborate train networks like these, which I have a couple of spare train stops in here, and a track in progress is basically my stop where that I usually shift around for building tracks. And how this works is, remember I took out the stop up here, which we called test B. I removed that, and then I placed the stop and named it test B again, and the trains worked because the stop is named test B. The way the train works is, it looks in your rail network and sees if it can find a stop with a name that's on its schedule, when it's on the schedule, from this list. And then it plots a route to it, so if you remove a station that was on the list, rename it, and replace it, and you place it again and name it the exact same thing, a train will automatically pathfind to you. This is insanely useful. Now with the 0.13 features, you can also do it by other means, but nevertheless, it's basically a train on call, so to speak. So yeah, I hope you found this tutorial somewhat interesting so far. I have done my level best to pre-build and pre-create it in a way to make it easy to understand. The last thing I will try to make easy to understand is we'll be making a two-way track with, or a one-way or a two-way track, yeah. Instead of having two tracks going with one-way tracks, basically, we're making a two-way track. And then we're seeing how you can balance a rail system around a two-way track without, you know, your rail system exploding on itself. We will also handling three trains, but with two stops. Will be interesting, and I will see you guys soon.